Today we're taking a look at the Satsuma, the other super battleship. And this one has had some nerfs, actually, since it was in testing. This ship, of course, used to have a much faster reload. And I think that was warranted since it was just much better than the Hanover. And that really came down to the meta of random battles. On the public test server, and even the ranked battle testing that Superships went through, well, it suits the Hanover much better. The brawling, closer range engagements, much better for a ship with armor that can actually bounce, these gigantic 32mm overmatching guns, and of course having the extra secondaries and a little more HP, hydro, those things all help. Satsuma, however, gets an accuracy buff, and, well, in random battles, where most people play at range and accuracy is king when it comes to battleship impact, yeah, the Satsuma is going to be a lot better. So, unfortunately, the reload has been nerfed quite substantially. Even with reload mod, I'm still over 30 seconds of reload on this ship. With Adrenaline Rush, though, of course, it does come down a little bit. And this Salem is... yeah, he's dead. Okay. That first salvo with the accuracy buff, I certainly had hoped I would have had a little bit better accuracy than I did, and I probably was looking for a few citadels there to kill him outright, since we do have a lot of overmatch, and this Dispersion upgrade really should make this ship quite accurate. It's around that 35% accuracy boost. That should make this ship an incredible, devastating battleship from range, even at close ranges. It should just absolutely nuke things, assuming that boost is active. It takes a little bit to use. But I do think, as we completely miss this Yamagiri, I do think that the base accuracy feels pretty bad. I think it's similar to Yamato Shikishima, but with these guns, for whatever reason, I've been feeling like the accuracy bonus that I get has not very much impact. It really feels like it's down to RNG, whether I am dealing damage or I am going to completely miss my target. That Yamagiri, I feel like maybe I should hit at least one shell. And then there's salvos where I don't even have the accuracy boost available, and I do get some pretty insane levels of damage, right? A 30k salvo into an Akimov, that always feels pretty good. He was even reasonably angled to me, so pretty happy with that level of damage. And if we're just talking about which one to get, the Satsuma or the Hanover first, if you're someone who wants to play more optimally in random battles, I still think Satsuma is the way to go, even after the nerfs and the, well, somewhat questionable dispersion some of the time. It is, I think, a little bit better than the Hanover overall for these more passive games. You'll notice that the range is pretty good on this ship, similar to that of Yamato and Shikishima. And of course, with these accuracy buffs, right, we're using this on this Bourgogne, well, you can get some pretty devastating salvos out there at range. And that's really what's important about this ship. It allows you to flank, it allows you to play centrally, whatever your team needs with this overmatch and reasonable accuracy, can have a large impact on the game. And the other thing that really helps Satsuma have a large impact on the game is this increased HP pool. Even though it has some of the similar weaknesses to Yamato, like the cheek, for example, well, having 120,000 HP certainly can let this ship play in positions where some of the other tier 10 or tier 9 battleships that you'll be facing could not be playing in, simply because they don't have the HP to play those positions. And that's what's really nice about the Satsuma. I can be the lone battleship on a flank like this and still feel reasonably comfortable. I've had a lot of HP taken away from my ship already. We're already down 2 of our heals in this game, and I really haven't done a lot of damage. But I am in a good position to, well, hit this Annapolis really hard. And that's even in the face of a couple destroyers and this Annapolis, who is certainly farming me quite effectively, and the Satsuma, who is also trying to get some shots into me. A lot of times I won't feel that confident in a tier 10 battleship, for example, because I won't feel like I can survive being bow in on a flank like that. So it's nice to have just the raw extra HP to sustain through situations like that. And being able to push flanks like this opens up a ton of crossfires. And this is one of my favorite things to do in a battleship in this game, is to get a flank and to shoot completely across the map and absolutely annihilate some poor cruiser. This is something I really loved about playing in Kings of the Sea and competitive, so even though I'm not doing that anymore, well, sometimes it can happen in random battles, and I really, really do enjoy it. So this Satsuma accuracy buff, I could see being absolutely devastating in competitive like that, where you farm up the required accurate salvos needed to gain this accuracy bonus, and then only use that accuracy bonus for that priority target. So there's some interesting gameplay elements around some of these gimmicks that these super ships have that could even impact into competitive if Wargaming decides to add super ships into clan battles or potentially even Kings of the Sea, which could be interesting. And we'll definitely see, I think, a lot of Satsumas because of that. That instant consumable accuracy buff is very, very, very impactful, especially when you have your entire team focusing a single ship, and that's the win condition sometimes. You gotta kill one ship, and having a couple Satsumas with that accuracy bonus can do a ton of damage in a hurry. But coming back to random battles, I really do think the Satsuma is the one super battleship to get. If you don't have the credits for both of them, Hanover is very much a fun, brawly secondary battleship, but I do think that that is not the playstyle of most people in this game, because it can be quite frustrating. It leads to a lot of difficult games where you don't really get to use the ship to its maximum potential. So for me personally, I do think Satsuma is the super battleship to go for if you only have the credits for one of them so far. It's going to work a lot better in the vast majority of random battle games. And for me personally, I do think that that is a massive strength of a lot of these more long-range focused ships, is that they feel powerful in every match. And if there is potential to push in sometimes, well, Satsuma still has some pretty incredible guns. So it's not like it's that weak into these more close-range games either. It can make it work. It's just that getting into these more long-range battles, the Satsuma is just much, much better. So I think that these super ships probably shouldn't be in the game. I think they are just, well, tier 11. And I don't know if we necessarily needed to expand the matchmaker out like that. But if you do have the credits, these are by far the most powerful battleships that you can possibly be playing in World of Warships right now. Unfortunately, though, they are still battleships, so there's going to be a lot of times that I have found where the dispersion has just been lacking. This enemy Satsuma, which is, let me remind you, a gigantic ship, is something that I am going to miss a lot in this clip here. We already had a pretty painful salvo into him while he was angling. We didn't really hit him all that hard with very many shells at all. So I'm pretty disappointed in the super ship design of battleships, retaining the reliance on RNG and a lot of dice rolls. Personally, I would have loved to see super battleships be something more along the lines of more accurate versions of the tier 10s themselves. So instead of increasing the caliber and the alpha damage of the ships, maybe instead give them better dispersion with the same caliber and the same alpha damage of the tier 10 ships. For me, that would have been really, really, really cool, but these super ships are still pretty fun to play. They're just a little frustrating when salvos like these happen. And in fact, we get, what, one full pen there. So, of course, it's still a dice roll. If you're looking for the absolute devastating accurate firepower, I do think that the Conde might be a good choice, since that thing has the reload booster craziness for its special gimmick, and it also gives you much better dispersion at the same time. That ship was hilarious and a ton of fun on the test servers when I was playing it. But unfortunately, these super ships are so expensive, I only have the 2 battleships. I'm basically out of credits after buying them. And let me tell you, I had to sell a ton of my mid-tier tech tree ships that I really didn't play anymore. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to grind some credits to get the other super ships on this channel. But for now, the 2 battleships are pretty fun, and I'm going to enjoy my time with both of them. As for the build I recommend on the Satsuma, it is just a standard tank dispersion build, so my captain looks the exact same as he did on my Yamato. I really did not change anything there, as well as the upgrades. Very basic, standard stuff, but that's what you get for a pretty standard battleship, one that wants to play at range and impact the game through accurate salvos on priority targets. So that's going to be the Satsuma for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.